Welcome back to Ion Lower Merion. We're in the Lower Merion Academy building in Ballackinwood. I'm here with Jerry Francis, the president of the Historic Society. And we're on the second floor of the General Reference Room here, right?
Correct.
So before we go along too far, can you tell us your contact information?
Well, we could, the old-fashioned way is U.S. Mail, which is 506 Bryn Mawr Avenue in Ballackinwood, 19004. The more modern is by email, is lmhistory@comcast.net. Obviously, there is the website that we have, lowermerionhistory.org. And we also have our e-newsletter that we send out monthly, and there's contact information there. You can leave messages behind. It's called Milestones. And finally, there's Facebook.
Oh, nice.
On the Lower Merion History Facebook account. So you can leave notes and things like that also.
You're well covered, I see.
Oh, it's more of an electronic age today with email, website, Facebook, e-newsletters.
Well, seeing in this room, your general reference room, I see lots of books. This makes you a special library. What is a special library?
Well, a number of years ago, the Historical Society decided, well, what are we, what should we be? We can't be everything, because different historical societies could be a museum, they could be reenactors, and we took a look at what is our primary asset, and that's our collection. So we decided to really focus on to be a special library. So we have a number of rooms here on the second floor. We're in the general reference room where our patrons are invited to join us. This is the central spot. Over here we have our online public access catalog, which is connected to our internet. People come in, do the searching, and then as they find things, they go through our collection, pick out what they need, sit around the big reference table, work with our librarians as they do their research.
Well, interrupt you for a moment. What are the hours that people can come in and use those?
Right now, it's limited hours. People work during the day, so we're open Wednesday evenings from 7 to 9 p.m. and Saturdays from 2 to 4. And also, I would say 80 to 90% of our visitors, our patrons, are by appointment. So when it's convenient for them, many of them come from out of town, and they like to be here for a half a day or whatever to do the proper research.
Oh wow!
So it's very customized. So it is a special library here. I must also say, besides that, because of the website, we have a virtual library with virtual users, and we get probably a dozen or more emails per week asking research questions as we follow up. So it's not just FaceTime with patrons. We also have
access to around the world.
Absolutely, and we have an international audience.
Wow. Well, I see you have easily over 500 pieces of stuff here. Can you give us a tour of the general reference room?
This is kind of an introduction. We're proud of our collection here. And we were fortunate enough back in August of 2012, the Historical Society of Pennsylvania had gotten a grant from the Mellon Foundation called Hidden Collections Initiative for Pennsylvania Small Archival Repositories. Just
rolls off the tongue.
Absolutely. And they reviewed 44 small and medium libraries in the Delaware Valley, and a group of archivists came in and studied our collection. They wrote this 188-page report on our collection, and we came out number 2 or 3 out of all 44.
Impressive.
So we're proud of our collection. It's not just we have the quantity of material, we have the quality.
Right.
So it's nice to have a third-party confirmation that we do have. We have a first-class township with a first-class special library.
Very nice.
So
congratulations.
So we're very happy with that. Some of the tools that we use here is we have our books about Lower Merion. We also include Philadelphia because we're Philadelphia-based. The settlers came in, settled in Philadelphia, moved out here, remained kept family connections. So it is our history is connected with Philadelphia. Before City Line, it was the City Avenue. Before that, this original settlers, they owned land on both sides. Before there was the road, it was just country. So there is a connection between the two. So it was Fairmount Park primarily and Lower Merion. There is a very tight connection.
Nice. Well,
so we have over 500 books here, and people can look at. Our very nice collection we have is the atlases.
Atlas, all right.
We are so fortunate that It's nice to have our area well documented. We have in the archive room 130 maps, our older maps of the area, and then they came along and decided to do atlases. So we have 16 different publications of the atlases here.
Wow.
That documents Lower Merion over time. So a lot of people come in, they're interested in their property, who lived there before. The majority users are interested in genealogy. They want to trace their ancestors. So it's nice to take a piece of land, go back to, let's say, 1850, and you trace it over time as you go to different atlases, and how the ownership has changed, the use of the land has changed. So it's a real documented history of the Lower Merion area. So
it isn't necessarily railroad based. I'm seeing main line, which would be a railroad term.
Yeah, right.
All these publications are various.
They're all done by Smith and Hopkins and Franklin Maps, et cetera.
Wow.
They track the Pennsylvania Railroad on 2.5 miles on either side. So that's their focus. That's their prime. We're the main line.
The main line.
It is was a railroad. It was a location. It was a style of life. You know, we like to use the term, but it takes it down right down to the property level, who owned it, you know, the footprints, things like that.
Very nice.
So these are just the more used atlases we have over here. We have what we call flat files, which have, you know, just filled with more atlases, they are more specialized, that follow other tracks, the Schuylkill River, things like that, that you get more the complete coverage of the area. So these are more atlases that we have, again, for the public to use. And what we are proud of, and we're really rediscovering our history, we got things called the hexamers.
And what is a hexamer?
These are insurance survey maps before Sanborn maps. The guy, Mr. Hexamer, was the one that actually drew these maps in great detail, mostly the factories, institutions, things like that. So you have a nice visual, like here's the Pencoid Iron Works that came out, which we're going to rediscover with the Kenwood Heritage Trail. And what did it look like? A description. What was, you know? It's nice to have these things as a visual to imagine. And we're using these images on the Preserve America grant signs to add a visual. Like this is where this mill was, etc. To understand the mill history of the area also.
Is this stuff available also online, or only
No,
available?
it's not. No? Only available online, unfortunately. These are owned by the Free Library of Philadelphia. They jobbed them out to the Athenaeum to scan, and we got special permission from the Free Library to have the hard copies and to reproduce them for the township for their Preserve America. But the copyright's still owned by the Free Library, so you have to go to the Free Library's website and get it. So they are available, but not on ours. So we'd link to that. But these are nice resources. We have, you know, quite a few of these. Of the various important buildings that were in the area. Bryn Mawr College, one of my favorites is the Belmont Driving Park, which is the racetrack.
Okay.
So it's nice to have, you know, all these visuals here to tie in with eventually the photographs. Right. Because the photographs, we have, you know, thousands of photographs. They're stored in the archives, and 99% of them are not online yet, because we only have so much time. But it's nice to get a photograph, find it on the atlas, position it so you can identify the location of these various buildings and events that are going on.
What would you say is the oldest atlas you have? The one on the wall here? I mean,
well, there's different kinds of atlases. The oldest atlas we have is 1871 that we have here. We do have reproductions in the other room, which reproduction's fine because it's information we want. It doesn't have to be an original. The oldest one dates back to mid-1700s, telling how to get from the Merion Meeting House into Philadelphia. Oh, wow. So it's kind of interesting. The hallmark map is the Levering map of 1851, is the first map of Lower Merion showing all the property owners. It was done by Mr. Levering, calligrapher. We have all his workbooks, how he drew this. It is only about 4 in existence. We have 2 of the 4, the original ones, and it's again, it documents Lower Merion. It doesn't show you where the buildings are. I highlight 3 buildings that they feel that are prominent. One is the Merion Meeting House. Okay. The next prominent building is where we are, the Lower Merion Academy, and the third one's Harrington House. Wow. It is farmland, and what they're documenting in 1850s is where is the water. Every farm had to have access to water. So where are the wells? Where's the springs? Where's the riverlets? Where are the creeks? That's what's important.
Yeah, I see that.
So this is a great map to start your research as you go through as the area is filled with people. It's subdivided into development.
Where does the library acquire most of its stuff? If I were going through my attic and I had stuff, do I simply bring it to you or contact you via email? And say,
we have two. Luckily, we have some very generous people, especially the Roberts family, who donated their family archives. And we do have an acquisition policy. We do have an account on eBay where we do to try and fill in the account. But that's minimal, but mostly by donations. Okay. But we do have an acquisition policy that's extremely selective because we don't want duplicates, and we just don't want people's. It has to reflect Lower Merion history, something that is of the correct quality that we can would add to our collection.
And I should say, you're not a museum, so you don't want an old baby carriage.
We don't want any of that stuff. No. We're not into that. So it's mostly we love to have family photos. Diaries, things like that talk about lifestyles. To us, history is people, and history is a collection of biographies, and the buildings and everything else are stage props to tell the story. Like we're talking about the Academy, it is a story about Quaker education, about Jacob Jones, his will, and the building's an example of it. So we like to get personal diaries, things like that. Awesome. We got some great ones that came in recently. What was the lifestyles back then?
All right. Well, let's go on for more of the tour and check out the rest of the building.
Okay, I'll show you the archive room.
Cool. Well, now we're in the archive room. Could you tell me about this room? What are all these books and binders I see before me?
This specially designed room for our primary sources, namely one-of-a-kind that are really not reproducible or as I said, one-of-a-kind. When we moved here, because of the quality of our collection, we decided that we needed a room designed like this. So with the help of the Conservation Center for the Arts and Historic Artifacts in Philadelphia, we helped design this room with structural support, vapor barriers, environmental controls, special humidity controls to preserve primary documents. So along this wall is the first library for Lower Merion, dates back to 1842, Quaker Library. Along this wall is probably 100 binders filled with old photographs. Again, the environmental control is concerned with these things. They don't want to get too humidity into them, things like that, so they have to be reserved. Primary manuscripts and documents and personal letters and diaries, things like that. Oh. That again, environmental control is important. Behind me is a shelf full of fabrics, Civil War uniforms, things like that. It requires conservation. And these are my favorite, being a map collector. These are what they call flat files, where oversized items are stored properly. You asked to show a couple items that it would be an example of the things in here. I thought I would, we helped with the township a number of years ago in 2007 to publish this booklet, the 325th anniversary of the founding of Lower Merion, and we are really connected with William Penn. There's a whole story about that, but I'll show you some documents we have that relate to William Penn to show it's not, these are primary documents. So we're in the white glove area right now.
Oh, I thought so.
So if you don't mind to make sure that I don't break any rules here in regards to conservation, I'm going to just open one drawer and just show you 3 sample documents that we have in regards to show you, the quality that we have. The first one here on the left is an original signature of William Penn, which is, again, prominent in the area. Tradition has it that he came out here to Lower Merion and gave a talk at the Merion Meeting House. This is the, I guess one of my favorite also. It's a 1682 indenture from Wales from Mr. Roberts to buy the first 500 acres in Lower Merion. So this is the beginnings of Lower Merion, the first indenture from Wales. And this one is kind of favorite just to be able to touch and hold, is that this is John Roberts' personal prayer book, or his Bible. So this dates back to the 17th century. He was in Wales because of his religion, being a Quaker. He was not permitted to use his prayer book. So he picked up his family, got on a ship, came to a new world, to the wilderness, so he could sit down and pray. So the power of the word speaks very clearly. So it's nice to have his prayer book here. So it's every time I touch that, I would say, I wonder what it was like crossing the Atlantic Ocean and the storms and trying to take care of your family. So I could just freedom of religion.
Wow. Now, this is not a a deed to a piece of property.
No.
No.
It's called an indenture, which is a legal document. And the way this was done, over in when it came from Wales, you bought so many acres sight unseen, and then when you arrived here, you turn this over to the surveyor and say, this is it, and they would assign you a parcel of land. This was from Schuylkill River along what is today City Avenue all the way down to what is today Conshohocken State Road. So it's the first 500 acres. The first this is the first, Mr. Roberts was in troop number 1, came over on the first ship. He's the first one to turn in his deed. He's the first one to get a piece of land.
Wow, that's impressive. And how did they know this matched up with what the surveyor had?
Well, the surveyor on the other side, it would be a duplicate, just the opposite. And when they were done, they would just cut it at a random curves. So as Mr. Roberts would come into the surveyor here in Philadelphia with this, they would take what they would think would be the equivalent half. If they lined up with the curves, you knew that this was an accurate one, and they would then write out the deed for you.
Oh, wow.
So
that's impressive.
That's what an indenture is. So. Okay, so I think the collection is very broad between maps that we have, both from William Penn, the Quakers. As I said, we have over 130 maps in here, in addition to the atlases we have over there. So it's nice to document the area and how it developed over time. And we're trying to really document today, so we have a roadmap for what the township's going to be like 50 years from now. And
there's still another room, right? Which unfortunately we don't have time for.
Yeah, the third one, we call it the file room. That's where we keep the articles and the ephemera. They're in file cabinets. There's about 19 to 20,000 items in there. And it's also the workroom for our volunteers. As material comes in, that's where they're evaluated, assessed, cleaned, decide how they should be integrated into the collection. Right. So that's another room. And then we have an office and some other things here. Some more storage on this floor. So it's a nice sized building. I think Jacob Jones would be pleased that his heritage here, the Quaker heritage, William Penn, is all being preserved and appreciated by the Lower Merion community.
Yeah, I think you've done an awesome job here, Jerry. Thank you very, very much. Before we go, could you remind us again your contact information?
Okay, the address is 506 Bryn Mawr Avenue in Bala Cynwyd. The email address is lmhistory@comcast.net. And please take a look at our website, which is lowermerionhistory.org, and we have a Facebook account. Lower Merion History.
Thank you very much. You have done an awesome job here. All right.
Come back again.
Thank you very much. Well, that's all the time we have for this month's show. I'd like to thank Jerry Francis for giving us a great tour of this wonderful building. If you want more information about the Historic Society, check them out online. They're at lowermerionhistory.org. Well, that's it for this month. For Lower Merion, I'm Mark Murray. I'll see you next time.